Okay, so you ready to talk tech?
Always. What we're diving into today.
You know how sometimes you find a piece of tech and it's like everywhere, but you never really notice it?
Oh, yeah, like the glue that holds everything together.
Exactly. That's SQLite. You're probably using it right now.
Seriously? Like
Yeah.
right this second.
Yep. It's this tiny database engine that's in, well, basically everything. Your
Hmm.
phone, your web browser, probably even your car.
Huh. I never really thought about it, but that makes sense, actually.
Well, today we're going to think about it. We're doing a deep dive on this research paper that maps out how SQLite went from like this small project to being everywhere. And get this, it talks about how SQLite's tackling data science and edge computing. You know, the super cutting edge stuff.
Sounds fascinating. SQLite handling big data.
Great.
Who would thought?
Right. And to help us unpack all this, we've got an expert here who can connect the dots and like really explain what's going on.
Glad to be here. SQLite is way more interesting than people realize.
Okay, so first things first, this paper throws out a crazy stat. Get ready for this. There are over 1 trillion active SQLite databases. 1 trillion. That's more than stars in the Milky Way.
That's insane, but I guess it shows just how successful its design has been.
Totally. So why is this little database engine so massively popular?
Well, think about it. SQLite's designed to be super compact, incredibly reliable, and it runs on pretty much anything. That's why it's in everything from smartphones to those little sensors popping up everywhere.
Like a chameleon of the tech world. It blends right in.
Exactly. And this research paper, it actually compares SQLite to this newer database, DuckDB, which is built specifically for analytics. It's the old guard versus the new kid on the block.
Oh, that's interesting. David and Goliath. So who wins in this data duel?
Well, DuckDB is great at handling huge data sets, but when they tested pure transaction speed, how fast it can do those quick data interactions, SQLite was much faster.
No way. So SQLite's like the speedy hare, and DuckDB's more of a thoughtful tortoise.
You could say that. SQLite's been focused on fast transactions for over 2 decades. They've had time to perfect it.
So it's got the speed, but what about handling big data, the stuff data science needs?
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting. The researchers, they found a way to make SQLite even faster for analytics.
How? Did they, like, rewrite the whole thing?
Not exactly. They used something called a bloom filter.
Ah, Bloom filters. Always sounded kind of complicated to me.
It's not that bad, actually. Imagine you're looking for a book in a huge library, right?
Okay, picture it. Tons of books, towering shelves.
A gloom filter is like having a librarian whisper, nope, not on this floor, so you don't waste time searching in the wrong place.
So it helps SQLite avoid those dead ends.
Exactly. It's like being smart about where to look for the data instead of just brute forcing it. Makes a huge difference.
Okay, that makes sense. So it seems like they're trying to give SQLite the best of both worlds. Super fast, simple transactions, and the power to handle bigger data stuff.
Right. And the paper digs into the challenges of doing that without making SQLite, bulky and complicated. It's all about keeping that balance.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they pull that off. This is getting pretty deep, though. What do you say we take a break and come back for part 2?
Sounds good to me. There's still a lot more to uncover.
Okay, so we're back, and we're knee-deep in the world of SQLite. Last time, we were talking about how they're making it faster, especially for those data science tasks.
And how they're using bloom filters to do it, like a super smart librarian helping you find the right data.
Exactly. But before we go any further, there's something else about SQLite that we need to talk about. Something that's, like, fundamental to its success.
You mean its licensing model?
Bingo. It's not always the most glamorous topic, but it's a big deal.
Huge deal, especially when you're talking about something as widely used as SQLite.
So what's the deal with SQLite's license?
Well, it's released under a public domain license, which basically means it's as free as it gets.
Public domain. Like those old books and movies that anyone can use.
Exactly. No copyright, no fees, no restrictions. You can use SQLite for anything you want, whether it's a commercial app, an open source project, whatever.
That's amazing. You don't see that very often these days.
It's one of the big reasons why SQLite is so popular. It removes all those barriers that usually prevent people from using great software.
So if I have this brilliant idea for an app, I don't have to worry about getting permission or paying fees just to use SQLite.
Nope. It's free for everyone to use and adapt.
Talk about democratizing technology. Anyone can build with it.
It's truly remarkable.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about SQLite's good side, its strengths and all that. But this is a deep dive, right? So we got to talk about the criticisms too.
You're right. No technology is perfect, and SQLite has its limitations.
But I guess it's about understanding those limitations in context, right? Knowing what SQLite was designed for and what it's not designed for.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the criticisms that people have of SQLite?
Well, one that I've heard is that it doesn't scale well for really huge data sets or for situations where you have lots of users trying to access it at the same time.
Right, the whole high concurrency thing.
Yeah, that. So is it true? Does SQLite struggle with those things?
It depends. SQLite can handle a decent amount of concurrent access, but it's not built for those massive high traffic scenarios you'd find in a huge online service.
Like if I'm building the next Facebook, SQLite's probably not the right choice.
You'd want something more heavy duty for that, something designed for those kinds of extreme workloads.
So it's about knowing your needs,
Yeah,
right? Picking the right tool for the job.
exactly. And when it comes to large data sets, well, SQLite can handle databases that are a few gigabytes big, but it's not really designed for those terabyte scale data sets you find in data warehousing or big data analytics.
Got it. So for a data scientist crunching through mountains of data, SQLite's not the main tool, but maybe more of a helper tool.
You could say that. It can be great for exploring data, prototyping, or doing smaller scale analyses within a larger project.
Okay, that makes sense. So what other criticisms are out there?
Another one is that while SQLite follows the SQL standard pretty closely, there are some quirks in its implementation that can sometimes trip people up.
Quirks, huh? Like what?
Well, take how it handles data types. Remember we talked about its flexible typing system, where you can store almost any type of data in any column?
Yeah, that seemed pretty handy, like a digital junk drawer.
It can be, but it also means SQLite might not always catch errors if you accidentally put the wrong type of data in a column.
So it's more forgiving, but maybe that's not always a good thing.
Some people see it as a strength, others as a weakness. It really depends on how you're using it.
Okay, I get it. So even though SQLite has its limitations, it's still an incredibly successful piece of software. But I'm curious about its history. Where did it all begin?
Believe it or not, SQLite started as a project for the U.S. Navy back in the year 2000.
The Navy. That's surprising. What were they doing with databases?
Well, the developer who created SQL, his name is D. Richard Hipp. He was working on a system for managing data related to weapons targeting and fire control.
Whoa, serious stuff. So they needed a database that was lightweight, portable, and super reliable, even in those like high-pressure environments.
Exactly, not your typical server room setup. And those design goals, those are the same ones that have made SQLite so successful in all these other areas.
So it started in the military, then went on to conquer the world of smartphones and gadgets. That's quite a journey.
It's a testament to focusing on the fundamentals. Simplicity, efficiency, reliability, those things never go out of style.
And now, with edge computing becoming such a big deal, SQLite's right there at the forefront again.
It's almost like it was designed for this moment, even though it was created over 2 decades ago.
So we've talked about the criticisms, but in the end, those limitations haven't really held SQLite back.
Not at all. For a huge number of applications, SQLite is still the perfect choice, and its strengths far outweigh its weaknesses.
It's like that saying, the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
And for many jobs, SQLite is the perfect tool.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And we're back. It's the final part of our SQLite deep dive. It's wild how this little database, born in a Navy project, is now everywhere.
Right. Talk about a glow up. But the tech world never sits still. So where does SQLite go from here? How does it stay relevant with all this new tech popping up?
That's the big question, right? And this research paper we've been talking about, it actually points to some cool possibilities, especially when it comes to AI.
AI, the word of the year, every year. But hype aside, it really does have the potential to change everything. And it all comes back to data.
Totally. AI needs mountains of data to learn, to make predictions, to do all this cool stuff. So where does SQLite fit in? Is it just about storing all that AI data?
It's more than just storage. SQLite is actually being used to run AI models right there on those edge devices.
Wait, on edge devices? You mean like our phones and smartwatches?
Yep. Instead of sending all your data to some giant server farm, your phone could run those AI algorithms itself.
Whoa, that's a game changer. Way faster and way more private, right?
Exactly. No more sending your personal data across the internet. And guess what? SQLite is perfect for this. It's so small and efficient, it can run on these devices without slowing them down or draining the battery.
So it's like SQLite's giving those AI algorithms a cozy little home right there on your phone. That's kind of cute, actually.
And super powerful. Think about it. On-device voice recognition, image classification, even personalized recommendation.
Yeah.
All powered by SQLite and AI.
So the next time my phone predicts what I'm going to type, that's SQLite working its magic.
Could be. And as those edge AI applications get more complex, SQLite's going to be right there with them.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. From weapon systems to smartphones to AI, it's
Yeah.
always about simple, efficient design. That's what makes SQLite so adaptable.
You're absolutely right. But AI isn't the only thing shaping SQL's future. Real-time data processing is another big trend.
Oh yeah, real-time data. It's all about getting insights from data as it's happening, right? Like tracking stock prices or monitoring those social media trends everyone's always talking about.
Exactly. And as everything gets more connected, we need those insights faster and faster.
Because if you wait, the data's already old news.
And that's where SQL steps in again. It's so fast, it can handle streaming data and give you those insights almost instantly.
So it could be used for like dashboards that update in real time or alerts that go off when something important happens, right?
Exactly. And because it can run on those edge devices, it can process that data right there at the source. No need to send it to a server and wait.
It's kind of like SQL's become the ultimate multitasker, transactions, analytics, AI, real-time data.
And it's not just the technology itself. The community behind SQLite is incredible.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Lots of passionate people working on it.
It's truly open source. Anyone can contribute, fix bugs, add features, share their knowledge. It's like a global team effort.
That's awesome. It's a reminder that innovation doesn't always come from big companies.
It's about collaboration, about people coming together to build something great, and that's what makes SQLite so special. It's more than just lines of code. It's a community, a movement.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, from SQL's humble beginnings to the future of AI and real-time data.
It's amazing how those core principles, simplicity, efficiency, portability, and reliability, they've made SQLite successful for so long, and they'll continue to be important as technology keeps changing.
SQLite might be small, but it has a huge impact. It's in our phones, our gadgets, our cars. It's powering innovation in ways we don't even realize.
So the next time you pick up your phone, remember SQLite, that little engine that could.
And hey, maybe you'll even be inspired to join that awesome community and help build the future of SQLite. It's open to everyone. That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep that curiosity burning.